I'm here to talk about reading groups for everyone. Some of you at the event last year, we launched reading groups for everyone. It's a bit of an experimental thing. We've launched it in partnership with the Society of Chief Librarians. And basically it's a website which is about celebrating reading groups in local communities. So here it is. I think since we launched it, we've got just under 3,000 groups now on the site. I think one of the key things that it demonstrates is the whole range and diversity of groups that are out there. The site has reading groups on there for children, for young people, for adults with low-level literacy, and all sorts of groups. It's fiction, non-fiction, online, crime, sci-fi, anything really. And I think what it does is just explode that myth of the reading group and the reading group book. There's just a huge range and a huge depth there happening in local communities. And it is libraries that have put it on, but also an increasing number of private groups adding into the site. Dan's just showing you kind of a granulation down into Cumbria Library Service, who have 63 reading groups on the site. I think one of the key things from our Google Analytics is the search and the find functionality is always in the top 3. People are looking for groups to join and looking for a whole range of groups to join as well. It's really doing is showcasing variety and range, but also showcasing how libraries are developing innovative new ways to build and have a conversation with reading communities. I mean here, we just click on here, I put this up yesterday, we're building up to National Reading Group Day. Aberdeen City Libraries are organising a whole range of stuff for reading groups, bringing it together and then doing it online, having a mass reading group session on National Reading Group Day. And I think this is kind of one of the key elements of the site, is through social reading. By that we actually mean real people connecting online, and actually I think that's the interface for all of us here today, for publishers and libraries. It's doing it online, but actually it's always about real people on the ground. And I think a facility like this really kind of helps people kind of granulate down. We can pull up some really interesting data, from the reading groups that are already on there. So if you're looking for a poetry reading group in the Northwest, we can get it for you. We can find that information and the people that are interested in that. If you're looking for visually impaired groups, we can find that data. So we can. I think that's one of the interesting things which would be good to explore with both libraries and publishers, is how can we start using that sort of information that we've got. And I think the other interesting thing about that is increasingly we're getting more of a conversation from readers and reading groups, being actively involved in conversations. I mean, I regularly get people wanting to put information up about their groups, wanting to connect. So if you go to news, you click on that for a while, click on Dickens Champions, it's just on. There we go. We're currently running a project where 11 reading groups are dedicating their whole year to reading Dickens, and they are really passionate about it from right across the country. And and from there we're going to be creating a dedicated page on the site, because that's what they want. They want to have that conversation and share that stuff with other people, the other groups, but also broadcast that out to other people who are interested in Dickens. So I think it's an interesting platform to go from that kind of national, quite anonymous stuff right down to individuals and their responses, and to actually get a depth really in terms of the response and the conversation. I will rapidly move on. So I'll just end up by just talking about the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, it is really about people. And we've got some fantastic stories on here, from the Hill of Happiness group, which is a wellbeing group up in Leicester, to the All-Male Orange Prize Reading Group in Hertfordshire, to a Babes in Arms group in Croydon, where it's mothers and toddlers sharing books, and to a reading group in Salford, who are basically a community activist group who have come together through being a reading group, through to the Prince of Wales Residential Home. So I think it's it is very much about that kind of span and range, and that how we're going to produce content and engage and have that conversation with readers. And I think that is really the question back to us: how do we actually go about that? I think this site potentially has a mechanic for us to be able to engage with those audiences.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.